Hello, it's James Hans here from Awaken Therapy. Thanks for joining me, my friend, for another exploration of an aspect of therapy, psychology, soul development. And today I wanted to unpack a bit about inner critic. Picking up on the reframing theme, inner critic is a kind of classic one. So inner critic is that part of us that attacks, judges, criticizes, obviously, generally putting us into a place of fear, shame, guilt, putting us down. It could be a hell of a bully. The outer critic is that, but that's extended outward. That's directed towards others, always putting others down, always finding fault in others, either consciously, actively, verbally, or silently. And so there's always this dynamic of trying to make someone else small, trying to make ourselves small. If we're focusing on inner critic, well, it's like this brutal, it can be absolutely brutal, part of us that really attacks and has the effect of keeping us small, keeping us quiet, keeping us shamed, keeping us back from expressing ourselves, speaking to other people, speaking in front of a group. That's a pretty classic one, where we can be absolutely terrified of talking to a group. That can really activate the inner critic. It's a very common part, and the effect of it can be so destructive in the sense that it keeps us away from life. It keeps us away from doing things and expressing things and engaging with people and activities that would bring us a lot of joy and experience and growth. Yeah, it can really keep us back from that. And so understandably, it's got a very bad reputation. It's the bad neighbour. It's the villain in the village, in the town. It's something that even a lot of psychology I notice tends to judge as bad. So it's kind of judging the judger, criticising the critic. It tends to see it as, well, this is a part we just have to negate. We have to keep saying no to it. We keep having to kind of put a big cross through it, cancel, clear, delete. And hopefully over time, which might be many, many years, it'll slowly diminish and not have such a hold on us. But as we were exploring in the reframe video, that kind of approach never works, because this is a part of us. As one of my therapists said many years ago, well, which arm do you want to cut off? It's a part of you. These aspects are all part of our inner family, and no one gets left behind. Everyone's important. And so the inner critic I include in that. So if we're reframing it, then it's more about understanding, well, what's its role been? What's its job been? Inner, outer critic, what's it been trying to do? If it's a part of us that's been attacking us and keeping us small or trying to do the same to others, well, it serves some sort of function. If it's a part of us, it's important. So we go into this reframe. Let's try to understand. And what I've found is, in my own personal experience and with so many clients, is that when we go back to the origins of inner critic, this part is something that we create. I always think of it as like splitting off an aspect of our life force to do a certain job, usually very young. So let's say we're growing up. In my experience, I grew up with a very critical father. There's never any praise, never a word of praise, but plenty of criticism. And so it wasn't safe to stick your head out. Obviously, I work with people who've gone through horrendous trauma and abuse, and so it's just not safe to expose yourself. It's not safe to put yourself out there, because you might be attacked, or you might be the sibling chosen to be sexually abused, or something horrendous like that. And so we need a part that helps us to avoid the attack, to keep us under the radar. And an inner critic will do that. An aspect that we develop that attacks us, puts us down, keeps us in shame, keeps us in fear, keeps us small, has the desired effect. It does what we need it to do, and that is to basically hide us away. Make sure we hide behind the furniture, make sure we fly underneath the radar of being noticed in that unhealthy system. So when we understand it like that, can you see how the reframe is critical here? We understand that, this is a part that's been attacking us, but its real intention is not to hurt us, it's to help us. It doesn't hate us, it actually loves us. And so when we understand it like this, then we can work with. That part, let it know that that strategy we're very grateful for, it helped at the time, it might have even saved our life at the time, might have had a huge benefit at the time. But by the time we come to therapy, usually many years later as an adult, we let this part know that that defense mechanism, that protective role, is a good thing that's seriously out of date. And I say to people, you could have the best meal in the world, like a Michelin, 3-hat meal or something, the finest food, a good thing, but what's it going to be like 10 years' time? It's going to be a rotted mess. It will be completely off and out of date. And so that's what we're working with Inner Critic, Outer Critic. We're talking about a good thing that's very out of date, very redundant in that role. And so our job is to bring it up to speed, bring it up to date, and bring it in touch with our current day adult resources. There's different ways we can deal with things. There's different ways we can approach situations. There's different ways we can feel about ourselves. And if we have a problem, if someone wants to have a go at us, or we have a conflict situation, well, we've got other strengths and resources to deal with that today. So, what's your inner critic experience like? How are you going in terms of resolving it? Are you perhaps stuck in a kind of a judging the judger, rejecting attempt, which is keeping it all jammed up? Or are you open to this way of renegotiating, rediscovering, reframing, and thereby integrating and finding that shift, that transmutation that happens through that healing process, which can only happen in an inclusive, embracing, loving approach to therapy. Never works in the trying to get rid of approach. Hope you find that useful, interesting. If you have any questions, any comments, please share. Always happy to respond to a comment or an email. And if you want some help with this, reach out, do a session with me, have a look at some of my other videos. Lots of resources there, important work, important time to be doing the work. And I wish you all the best on your healing journey. Okay, God bless.